Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Peacekeeper podcast. This is episode number 2. Okay, I'm realizing something. This is going to be a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. You know, I thought it was going to be as simple as setting up the camera, set up the mic, hit record, and go. But alas, there's a little bit more to it than that. You have to have stuff to say. Oh man, I kind of have writer's block this morning. I've been recording for the last 30 minutes and I just kind of realized that it was going in a direction that I don't even care for. So I'm going to start over. This is take 2 of episode 2. And here we go. I'm very self-conscious. And I say a lot. And I say a lot. And I say like a lot. And if I focus on it, then I start to just kind of spiral and crumble a little bit. Oh, there's the mailman. But if I don't focus on it, it sounds clunkier, but it's more genuine of my headspace, if that makes any sense. I'm also trying to debate if I should just hit record and just whatever comes, and then upload it as is with all the very, very long pauses. Or if I should try to manipulate it and edit it and take out all the awkward parts and, have a nice 5-minute run, collect my thoughts, have a nice 10-minute run. I don't know. This is harder when it's just you. Whenever there's 2 or 3 people, you can kind of riff and you can set each other up and you can goof around. But just talking to nobody in an empty house is kind of challenging. But like I said last episode, this is a practice. So I'm gonna try to push through. I kind of want to just hit record and not try to edit it very much. Because with editing, I can make it sound clean and sophisticated and coherent. But that's kind of a facade, right? If I just hit record, it's like, and if I don't edit it, that's like catching a glimpse into the reality of the situation, which is kind of chaotic and not coherent and jumbled and just everywhere. So I don't really know where to go from here, but I'll just continue to go because I gotta go, Okay. So last week I did the podcast and then I went to go roast coffee for the first time. So that was kind of cool. I roasted with this guy named Joseph, super nice guy. He introduced me to a lot of coffee roasting knowledge. So super grateful to him for that. Yeah, I brought my humble, measly little 20 pounds of coffee, of organic Peru coffee, to kind of, dip my toes in, test the waters a little bit. But it felt a little flimsy going into their roastery, and they have just hundreds and hundreds of pounds of coffee, and they can rip through 100 to 200 pounds per day if they wanted to. But 20 pounds to start. And that was cool. It was fun. So I got 21 bags. I gave one to my sister Shailene this morning when she came over, because I promised her free coffee for life because she designed my logo. So 21 bags of coffee, and they're actually available right now to purchase on my Instagram. Just DM me on Instagram. Or if you're not on Instagram, you can, let's see. If you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook page that is completely empty and underutilized. I just kind of had to make it in order to set up the Instagram shop. So my Instagram shop is pending approval for connecting my Shopify, so that you would be able to purchase it just straight from Instagram. That's not ready to go yet, still pending approval. So I'm just going to continue to do it the old-fashioned way of just DM me. I got 21 bags, and I'm selling them for $15.95 per bag. So yeah, if you want to support me, if you want to support the pod, if you want to support, good organic coffee, never mind the fact that I'm not drinking coffee. No, I had a little bit of coffee this week. I made a pour over of the beans that I roasted, just to make sure that it was up to snuff, up to standards, and it was really good. I was actually really, really happy with it. So yeah, if you want to buy a bag of Stamina coffee for right now, ABQ only, because I don't want to ship it, and just DM me on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram in the show notes below in the description. Okay, here's another thing. I told this person that I would reconcile my disrespect on the podcast. So this goes out to Ryan Wilson. Oh, poor guy. He texted me the other day. A nice vulnerable text. It was, "Hey, are you busy tomorrow?" Or, "Hey, are you guys free tomorrow?" Or something like that. I think it was, "Hey, are you guys busy tomorrow?" Speaking to my wife and I and Aesop. And at the time that he texted me, I was playing God of War. I was on the phone with my mom. I was in the middle of playing God of War, because very good game. And then my mom called me and wanted me to pick up a table for her. And Ryan texted me as I was on the phone. I know this is not interesting, but for the sake of just my brain, I'm just going to say it. So on the phone with my mom, he texts me, "Hey, are you guys free tomorrow?" I acknowledge the text. I continue my phone call with my mom. And then once the phone call is finished, I go back to playing God of War, and I don't text him back because I forgot. And then 24 hours goes by, and then I get another text from him, and it's something to the effect of, "Man, I can't wait to see you in person. I'm like trying to decide what I'm going to say to you when I see you in person for leaving me on red." And then I texted him back immediately. Just, dude, I'm so sorry. I totally spaced texting you back. Blah, blah, blah. So I told him that I would make it up to him on the pod. Ryan, sorry for leaving you on red. You put yourself out there. You sent me the text, "Hey, are you guys busy tomorrow? Do you want to do something?" And you just got nothing from me. You just got dead air. So this is my apology to Ryan Wilson, the homie. Okay, so last week I said I wanted to talk a little bit about where I'm at health-wise these days. And when I was recording this episode the first time, I started just rambling for about 20 minutes, just laying out my entire health journey. And I don't know what happened, but I just didn't like where it was going. So I'm going to maybe try to do a 5-minute version as opposed to a 25-minute version of just where I'm at health-wise and where I've been and where I will be. Okay, so when I was 21, I got super sick. I was living a very unhealthy life. And, looking back in retrospect, it makes sense that my body snapped, kind of. So, yeah, just drinking, smoking, eating terrible food, fast food, cheap food, carbs. Nothing of quality, nothing of sustenance. Sustenance or sustenance. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Nothing substantial. And my body kind of snapped. So I was 21 and I started having very sharp abdominal pain, and I started having really bad diarrhea, and I was losing weight rapidly. So I realized I needed to go see a doctor. So I had an endoscopy, which is, I guess, like a camera through your mouth, and they didn't see anything. So I did a colonoscopy in through the other end, and then they realized that I had severe intestinal inflammation in line with Crohn's disease / ulcerative colitis. And so that just started me down this path of trying to figure out what to do. Do I go the Western route, the Western approach to medicine, or do I try other? Well, so I started down the Western approach, which is, let's get you on prednisone. Let's get you on a steroid. I wonder if you can hear my chicken in the background. They're kind of on one today. They've been cockadoodle doing. What did you say? They've been. What is that noise? I don't even know. Anyway, where was I? Okay. So I started on prednisone, which is a steroid, and then an anti-inflammatory called mesalamine. And they worked for about 24 hours, and then my body snapped back to, hey, this is not the right solution. And so my doctor suggested that I get on Humira, which is an immunosuppressor that you inject into your thigh once every 2 weeks, and it basically just kneecaps your immune system. So that's what you want, right? You want to be 21 years old on a immunosuppressor and just having to be on pharmaceuticals for the rest of your life for your chronic condition, right? That sounds about right. No, it didn't make any sense to me. So I asked my gastroenterologist if, lifestyle had anything to do with it, if diet had anything to do with it, what I'm eating. And answer was basically just no, diet has no role in it, and this is kind of your only choice. And so I don't know what really stirred me to ignore that information and think that I could try to overcome my situation with diet and lifestyle changes. But for whatever reason, because some people don't have that within them. Some people will listen to that doctor and be like, oh, wow, okay, I guess I'm just fucked for the rest of my life. And I guess I'm just going to have to be on a pill, be on an immunosuppressor, be on some sort of money-making pharmaceutical, and hopefully my insurance can pay for it because it's going to cost a freaking enormous amount of money. And this is my life, just trying to manage symptoms. Anyway, I didn't resonate with that, so I tried switching up my diet, and I'm blasting through this story because there's so much that I'm probably partially forgetting, but also is just not, I guess, necessary for the sake of this podcast. But I ended up going through this book called The Maker's Diet, which is, I have a lot of opinions about it, but there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good to it, and it was a start, and it started me off in the right direction. So it's essentially just I guess in the book it's a 30-day program type thing, but it's basically just trying to reset your digestive system and maybe introduce to you a new way of thinking about food. The Maker's Diet comes from a biblical approach, which I have my own thoughts on. I don't necessarily... I can understand incorporating a spiritual element into, your body, because I believe that we are mind, body, and spirit, right? And so you can't just neglect the spiritual aspect of it, because that is important. But I guess I don't really want to get too much into that. It's there. There's a spiritual aspect in the Maker's Diet, which I didn't necessarily resonate with at the time. I still don't. I don't have an issue with it, but I just wanted to apply my own take on spirituality as opposed to a biblical, more traditional Christian approach. Anyway, it was more about my diet and changing the way I was eating. So I did the 30-day program, and okay, so I have such a mental block right now. Okay, so I started eating healthier, right? I started getting high quality food in, focusing on healthy fats, getting good protein in, eliminating refined carbs, simple sugars, um, getting rid of breads and eating about like cheese and milk and all that stuff, grains. So my diet was primarily meat and vegetable focused, like healthy, high quality protein, like 100% grass fed meats, organic, wild caught fish, all that stuff. And at the time, I did have a severe sugar addiction though. And so I had a really, really, really hard time kicking my sugar addiction. And that took a very, very long time. And I don't even know what I can credit to finally getting over it. But at a certain point, I finally ditched it. Very, very difficult. Okay, so with Crohn's disease comes other issues besides just intestinal inflammation. You also start to, or not you do, but you can also start to develop ulcers and abscesses along your digestive tract. So that was kind of part 2 to my whole health journey, was developing an abscess that caused me a lot of grief. Yeah, it was there's no pretty way to say this, but it was a rectal abscess. And so I had to go to like a surgeon to get that drained. And it was just brutal. Like, just one of the worst experiences of my life. It was nasty and barbaric. But okay, so that was all around 2017, 2018. And so, oh man, and then there was even 2021. So yeah, literally last year, last July, I turned 26, which for all my 26-year-olds out there, once you turn 26, you are off your parents' insurance. So it was literally 6 days after I got off my parents' insurance that I woke up one morning and I had sharp abdominal pain. Oh, fuck. Okay. Great. I don't have insurance. What the hell? Shit. Okay, what do? I have sharp abdominal pain. So do I go to the ER? Do I go to urgent care? Where do I go? What do I do? So I ended up having to retroactively figure out insurance through this program called Cobra or something like that, to where I was able to continue my parents' insurance, because at the time I didn't have any other insurance. But I had to, anyway, it was just a mess. It was me going to UNM emergency room, and I was just like, okay, I'll have to figure out insurance stuff later, because I have to, I can't move. I need to go to the ER. So went to the ER, and I don't even remember exactly what it was, but I think I had developed a fistula or a fissure or something like that, to where it was, I don't know, some sort of tunnel developed. I think I thought it was appendicitis because it was right to the right of my belly button, which is typically where your appendix is. Anyway, I thought it was appendicitis, so that's why I went into the emergency room. But they're like, no, it's just, I think they said complications from your Crohn's disease or something like that. But, shit, I wish I remember exactly what it was, but I think it was a fistula connecting two parts of your intestine that are not supposed to connect. Anyway, so what did I do? I laid in the ER. I laid in the ER for 3 days. And I didn't eat. I fasted for like 72 hours, 70, whatever, how many hours. And I think I was on a lot of antibiotics, which is a bummer. But anyway, after 2 or 3 days, it went away and they released me. And that's a very simplified version of what actually went down. That was another very, very low point in my life. I just hate a lot about our healthcare system. They scare you into thinking that they're going to save your life. And then once I don't know. Anyway, that brought me a nice bill from UNM. Thank you, UNM, for that bill. That was a nice bill. Luckily, oh my God. Luckily, I was able to retroactively kick in my parents' insurance for one additional month. I was just like, hey, can I just get one more month? I'll pay for the month of July and then I'll cancel it. And I don't even remember how it all worked out, but it worked out, which is cool. So that knocked off probably 60 to 70% of it was like an $8,000 or $9,000 bill. Anyway, that whole season sucked. But I mean, what happened there? So I think what happened was, because this was relatively recent. This was last summer. I had been slacking. I had been really slipping on staying true to who I am. And nobody really knows what that means except me. But I was not I just wasn't being diligent with following the right diet for me. Dealing with stress. I was not dealing with stress well. I had just had a kid and it was like in the middle of COVID. And I think stress did play a big part into that, as well as me just not eating the way I should. I was, slipping, Since then, I have been the most on it with my diet. And so what does that mean exactly? What does it mean to be on it? What it means for me is that for whatever reason, I don't know why, but my body is extremely particular with what I put in it, with what I consume. So, even down to the molecular level, I have to be extremely cautious what I take in. And that's not just diet, that's consume in other ways as well, ingesting through my lungs, ingesting through my eye, or consuming things through my eyes, with the media I take in and whatnot. So right now, what I consume diet wise is very limited. It's very simple and minimal. The majority of my diet, here's another thing, is that it's always in fluctuation. I'm never really like stagnant with what I'm eating. It kind of evolves. And what I'm doing now, like I try to just listen to my body, and that changes, throughout the seasons and throughout the years. Because if you ask me, I mean, there's core staples that I adhere to. There's a certain structure that I try to, like if I had to build my own food pyramid, right? Like there's like foundational stuff that I already, I've got it down. But the minute details kind of evolves. Anyway, the foundation of my diet is high quality, healthy protein. Or I'm just trying to figure out how to make this sound a certain way. The foundation of my diet is high quality animal products. So I eat 100% grass fed beef. I will eat ruminant meats. So that's bison, lamb, beef, sheep. There's probably a few others out there, but the majority of my diet is 100% grass-fed beef and cooked vegetables. So if I can, seasonal local vegetables, just for, the nutritional value. But high quality meats and high quality organic cooked vegetables are the foundation of my diet. And then like if I was building my own food pyramid, that would be on the bottom. And then above that would be I mean, the thing is that I literally eat like 10 different things. Like I could count the amount of different foods I eat on my two hands. So like meats, vegetables, I eat a little bit of fruit. If I could get seasonal local fruit, that's cool. But I'll do like berries, so blueberries, raspberries. But again, in very, very, very small quantities, just because I don't do well with carbs, with sugars. The fiber content in the vegetables, I guess makes it, I don't know. There's so much I don't know. I promise you. That's why I don't really give advice to people, because everybody's so different. And what works for me, I don't know. Like everybody's just in different places in life, and people have their preferences and their likes and their dislikes and their habits and their addictions and their accessibility. And I don't know. I eat a lot of meat, And I love it. Like I'm stoked on that, but I know a lot of people aren't stoked on that. And, cool. I don't know. I don't we don't have to agree, but I'm just doing what I have to. Like I'm doing what my body is telling me to do. I'm doing what I respond best to. I'm going off how I feel. And I used to be falling apart. And now I'm able to live a healthy, functioning life. So yeah. What else so the other handful of foods that I do eat is, for right now, again, this changes, but I would say for the last maybe 4 to 6 months, this has been my diet. So yeah, cooked meats, cooked vegetables, a little bit of berries. I'll do a little bit of 100% grass fed, full fat, plain yogurt. Again, just a little bit. I'll eat wild caught salmon. I'll eat avocados, eggs. I eat a lot of eggs. And what else? I think that's it. Honestly. I'll have tea and, coffee every once in a while. I'll put a little bit of organic heavy cream if I'm feeling it. Some days, I kind of just, that changes day by day. But that's about it. Meats, vegetables, a little bit of fruit, a little bit of dairy, eggs. It's simple. Like at this point, it's strictly for utility. I get, like, food is not a shit, what's the terminology? Like a instant gratification, pleasurable activity for me, like eating food. Food is fuel. Food is me giving my body the requirements to perform the tasks of everyday life. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the food I eat. I consume coconut milk too, like in the can with no, like not coconut milk that I don't know. It's I'll eat like coconut puree essentially. Okay. Yeah. Food. Anyway, that is what I eat. And I still just feel okay. I had a nice moment with my cousin Kira the other day. We were just kind of talking about how we both kind of just, have to work very, very, very hard in order to just reach baseline. Like some people, like we all know that person or those people that just eat whatever they want, drink whatever they want, sleep whenever they want, and are just feeling great. They're always in a great mood. They're always happy and have plenty of energy and blah, blah, blah. But for me and for her and for whatever reason, some people have to just like work in order to just feel good. Like feeling good is such a gift. I don't know if I ever feel like great or absolutely incredible. But I can feel good as opposed to shitty and terrible. Okay. Where do I go next? Not many people eat like me, and that's okay. I did carnivore for about 10 days a couple weeks ago. And just because that's just the ultimate elimination diet, right? And I was very happy to bring fiber back in. I think my digestive system was too. Okay, I'm going to try to put a bow tie on all of this. I've come a long way with my diet, you know. Gone are the days of the Sonic Blasts, the Butterfinger Sonic Blasts, and the mozzarella sticks, and the Doritos Locos Tacos, and, you know, breakfast burritos, Baja Blasts, all the good shit, you know. And now are the days of getting a nice ribeye steak, maybe a little bit of sauteed broccoli on the side, and I'm content. I don't know. I feel like this stuff is boring. It's just so normalized to me now, but I think people just don't care, and that's cool. All right, so that's probably going to be it for this podcast. I feel better about this second take. I'll probably start to have people on soon. I think I'm realizing that it's just easier to have people on. So if you want to buy a bag of coffee, hit me up on Instagram in the DMs. And thank you for listening. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to keep going. All right, that's a wrap for episode 2. Goodbye, everybody.